I'm Don Ferguson. I was born in Montreal in 1946, and I'm a comedian, producer, writer, performer on Royal Canadian Air Farce. My idea of perfect happiness is sailing in a sailboat, good size, 50, 60 feet, across the open ocean with a good breeze and a really good crew. My greatest fear is drowning. One of the people I admire most is my father, my late father. He came to this country, to Canada, from Europe when he was 16, hadn't finished high school, didn't have a living soul on the continent that he knew, and he managed to make for himself a pretty good life. He met a woman, he got married, he had a couple of kids. For me, he's like an ordinary hero. I think there are probably millions of people like that in North America and millions more around the world who just managed to succeed without a lot to begin with. And I think they're great. Impatience. Intolerance. I'm intolerant with people who are intolerant. I get impatient with them, in fact. You know, people who are correct and have good manners and butter doesn't melt in their mouth, that kind of person, whatever that, if that person has a virtue or think they have a virtue, that's the one that I think is overrated. I lie whenever it seems like a good idea to do it. And I always know when. I think I'd like to live by the sea. I love the ocean. And it's kind of in my blood. I have a grandfather who was in the Royal Navy of Britain. And oddly enough, I live in Toronto, which is like 2,000 miles from the ocean. So I'd like to live in a house that is built around a courtyard. The ideal thing would be both. A house around a courtyard. So you'd have like nature in the middle of your house in effect. You'd have the sun coming in, you'd have plants, you could have water. And then maybe just a short stroll away, there'd be the ocean. The temperature would be nice, and my boat would be there. It's a complete package. If I had a talent that I don't have, it would be to be able to sing. I would love to be able to sing. I think singing is the most expressive thing a human being can do without using equipment. I mean, obviously, if you're a photographer or a painter or a sculptor, you can do other things. But just to be able to sing beautifully, not even beautifully, just be able to sing, that's what I would like to be able to do. Years ago, my favorite distraction used to be the evening meal. That to me was a great event. Starting around 8 o'clock at night, sit down with at least one other person, but maybe 5 or 6 other people, and that would be the entire evening, just chatting, talking, drinking wine, sort of celebrating life. Don't do that as much as I used to. What I do more now is I play tennis. I love playing tennis. It's great fun. It's hard to stay fit as we get older, and if you could make a game of it, it's the best. Probably knowing the limits of my imagination and my talent. And it's a challenge in that I like to think I haven't reached it yet, and I suppose it'll be a very sad day when I think I have. I think what gives me the most satisfaction at the moment is my daughter. My family in general, but I have one child, a daughter, and I think she's just the greatest thing that ever walked the face of the earth. She's 20 years old now, and she's fabulous. The lowest depths of despair for me has been feeling that getting up in the morning and living is just a complete waste of time, a hopeless waste of time. Luckily, those moods don't stay long and those periods don't stay long, but I'm sure we've all been there. I've certainly been there. I think my favorite word in many ways is yes. My favorite sound is water, any kind of water. Whether it's waves crashing on a beach, or a brook trickling, or a little fountain just gently plashing in somebody's backyard. My favorite food is pasta. Not spaghetti with meat sauce, but pasta with green sauce, or pasta with a white wine sauce and clams, or pasta with a really good lamb ragu, or almost any kind of pasta. Living in Toronto, what I most dislike is winter in the city. I think it can be so goddamn ugly. Instead of being cold and white, it's brown and slushy and mucky, and I hate putting on overshoes. I could get through winter if I didn't have to put on those fucking overshoes. The historical figure that I identify with most is Magellan. He sailed across the Atlantic, down the east coast of South America, around Cape Horn, up the west coast of South America, across the Pacific. When you consider the boat he had, it was a tiny boat, and the length of his journey, it was absolutely phenomenal. It was akin to somebody going beyond the moon and coming back. An absolutely extraordinary feat of navigation. And I like sailing. Sailors are my heroes. Words I live by a lot are words that I think were first said by Mao Zedong. Mind you, he would have said them in Chinese. The words are, "The longest journey begins with a single step."